Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the House of Kayfabe, and I am here broadcasting from hurricane-ravaged Fort Myers, Florida. I finally am back on the air. Steve Barker is the only one that would join me today, but we are talking about Extreme Rules. But I must apologize, Steve. I've kind of been in the dark for about 8-9 days. This is day 10 of the apocalypse. We finally got electricity and internet back. So here I am back here on the House of Kayfabe.
So when you were sitting in the dark, first of all, it's so good to see you. We were all worried about you, Brian. Like we all looked at our radar systems and saw that it was coming straight for good brother Brian's house, exactly in the middle.
Literally, like I was right there. As it touched landfall, we were 15 minutes out.
Well, so I know we've got a lot of damage to the house. I know you have a lot of insurance adjusters you're going to have to worry about.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get down to brass tacks. Did any of your wrestling memorabilia get damaged?
No. Well, I can't say completely no, because I'm sure there's things that I don't know about yet that I'm still going through. But my main collection, no. It was all removed and taken to a higher level where we did not get water. So I was kind of smart with that, I guess, where I was I was discussing the possibilities. Like I was like, yeah, we might get water in the house. Maybe I should move some things. So I took a little bit of precautions, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to sandbag the absolute shit out of this place. So I go through, I've got waterproof tape. I've got sandbags. I've got every single exit just sealed off. We are ready. We're going to stay in this building and just rock it out. And then as soon as the water came, it started coming through the fucking floor, right through the walls and shit. It was like, oh, well, can't sandbag for that.
No, you can't. So, here at the House of Kayfabe, we of course do, reviewing content and analysis of today's wrestling, but we also do a lot of memorabilia and collectible stuff as well. Brian, if there was the one piece of WWE or wrestling memorabilia that you like, if you knew you were going to lose everything just for whatever reason, what is the one thing that you are like, that's going to be what I save?
Okay, so when I took the podcast equipment and I took all of my mics and my cords and my equipment, if you notice, I am on a headset today, and that is all that I have because my stuff is not set up yet. One, because my office is kind of trashed besides what you see over here in the corner. And also because I was worried, I didn't want it to be underwater. And right inside my podcast equipment, right inside the hole for the mic stand, is the Andre the Giant rookie card. And I took it upstairs and packed it away and made sure it was all secure. So luckily we did have an upstairs, so we were able to move to the next level and not be in any type of danger or situation. A lot of people in this town weren't as lucky as I was. And I mean, when I say lucky, it's hard to think of having, 2 feet of water in your house and the wind blowing like crazy and every single tree, through my pool looks like a swamp now. And there are actual fish in my pool. We were feeding
for real?
Yeah, we were feeding the fish with fish food. It turns out that the koi pond and the pool and the living room all became one at one point during the storm. So that was interesting. We did have a few fish in the pool, and the pool is just absolutely destroyed. So I had a really, really bad time. However, I'm very grateful that I didn't have as bad of a time as some of the other people in my community, and some of the devastation that I've seen is just absolutely just mind-blowing when you're driving around and you're seeing things that you've been seeing the whole time you were here that were perfect and everything, and now they're just ripped open like tin cans. I seen a Cube Smart storage right by my work, which I'm very lucky. The company that I work for, they were completely taken care of. There wasn't any real damage to them at all, but right down the street at Cube Smart, they opened that place up like a tuna can. Yeah. And I was thinking about all the people who have their stuff stored there. And there were people actually living there in apartments and the whole top of the roof came off like a tin can. I know there were some people that the water went over their house, like completely.
Whoa.
You know, I had 2 feet of water in my house, but there were people that weren't even safe on their roof.
Jesus.
So it was pretty crazy. 16 feet high storm surges.
Wow. Move
And
to
luckily,
Florida, they said. It would be fun. The business is great, they said.
You know what? And they're right. It is fun. It is great. And the business is great. And that's why it's worth the hurricane every now and then. I
hear you.
Sometimes you just got to be a survivor.
So here's one for us, is what we like to call in the business a transition. So when you were in the dark for many days, did it feel like you were waiting for Bray Wyatt?
Bray Wyatt wasn't who I was waiting on. No, I was waiting on LCEC. That's what I was waiting on, and that's a power company to turn my power back on. Unfortunately, there's two companies down here. There's Florida Power and Light, and there's LCEC. Well, Florida Power and Light, they were like, we've got a disaster here. We are going to pay for tons of people to come from outside of our state to fix our problems. And Florida Power and Light, they were up and running in like 6 days. They had 90%. LCEC refused to pay for any help whatsoever. And at that time, they were at 37%. And our governor, Ron DeSantis, had to basically call them inept bitches to get them to actually kick into gear, and he had to pay for it out of Florida's money. So unfortunately, I have the crappy power company, LCEC, and I was out of power for about 9 days.
But you got power in time to be able to watch Extreme Rules 2022.
That is correct. I did, and I was pleasantly surprised. You know, when we went into this pay-per-view, I was thinking, there isn't a main event on this show. You know, after we started, I was like, wow, I thought there was a main event, but turns out there isn't a main event. And it looks like Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle is about to be the main event. And that's what happened. And I can't say that I was disappointed.
Before we get there, let's go down this card, because I think this card was fantastic. On other episodes we've done, and also if you're watching this, please like, comment, and share. We're trying to build our brand around here, but also we existed in podcast form only before we came to YouTube, and there's a few of those episodes where me and you get into it about the importance of Triple H as a wrestler, and I think I still stand behind that, and I know where you stand. Brian Resner is a gigantic Triple H mark, but I will tell you,
he's a god among men. What am I supposed to be?
I tell you what, dude, he's playing this game beautifully. WWE is as good as it has been in decades, and I know that might sound hyperbolic.
Can I just mention one little thing that is just? It's just a little spice. It's not even that big of a change, but I think it's awesome that now the announcers and the play, even the guys that are sitting up at the desk for the pre-show, they can all talk about the history of wrestling now.
It's so
I
good.
heard Michael Cole last night say the greatest strap match of all time was Sting versus Vader at Super Brawl 3. I heard Jerry the King Lawler talking about his strap match with Austin Idol on the pre-show. These are things that change wrestling for me, like just the little things that mean so freaking much.
Well, it was Vince McMahon's idea to just let WWE live in a timeline all by itself. Like those things didn't exist. Do you remember when JBL first came to announcing, however many years ago it was, and he got into trouble apparently because I think it was maybe when AJ came back, or somebody had come from New Japan. You know who it was? It was Albert. It was when Albert came. What was Albert's gimmick when he came back?
It was like
Tensai, right?
Yeah.
And dude, he was talking about NJPW, and it was just like a morsel, and we were like, oh, things exist outside of the WWE timeline. Of course, Vince McMahon put a kibosh on that. And I want to talk about, man, Michael Cole. And I know that, and if you go back in some of our older programs,
you were right.
I said it. I said, I think Michael Cole is an excellent commentator. And dude, without that crazy old man yelling in his ear, he's fantastic. Now, I was breaking Sober October on this date because it was my wedding anniversary. So every Sober October is going to have an asterisk because the waifu requests a little partying on the anniversary. And since I made her watch wrestling on her anniversary, the least I could do is drink with my wife. So I can't remember some of the lines that Michael Cole had, but he had golden lines like Jim Ross style stuff all night. Like, he's so good. Let's get into this fucking this card we got right off the bat. And this match, I think, was so hot that it was going to be hard to follow. We got the Brawling Brutes with Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch. Please give Butch his name back. Defeated Imperium with Gunther. Please give him his name back. Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. Brian, this is what wrestling is to me.
You know, I believe that somewhere it is written in stone that Gunther and Sheamus are to be in the ring together. Those guys were built to fight each other. I mean, it like Gunther brings things out in Sheamus we haven't seen in years.
No. Sheamus has been floundering for years, in my opinion, just years. And everything about him, I like. He's stiff and safe. He looks cool. He cuts and he's a serviceable promo. You know,
I like his promos. I mean,
they're serviceable. They're not terrible. You know what I mean? Gunther, and I'm going to call him Walter. I'm sorry. Walter has reinvigorated Sheamus. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, obviously. But this could go down if they do this right. You know, this could be a WrestleMania second or third away from the main event if they do this right. And I know that's a long way off, but it's not really when you think about it. It's October. WrestleMania is April. If they're able to keep this going, and dude, you know, I know you and Matt are the two residents of the house that are the biggest ECW fans. And if anything that we saw, Philadelphia is a wonderful wrestling crowd. Holy shit.
I'll tell you that, you know, we have to say that because we are ECW fans and we know that crowd. I know that crowd. When you hear that crowd, but I was actually explaining that to my wife when we were watching the show. I was like, you know, listen to that crowd. I said that probably 15, 20 times. You can't get a better crowd than that dirty Philadelphia hardcore crowd.
And man, they gave it to
ECW
him.
Great. You know, ECW had a lot of high points. There were a lot of great things I could set and write thing after thing after thing after thing that was amazing. But the biggest star in ECW history is that crowd.
How great. And how, dude, I was thinking about your Resner. I was sitting down and watching at the beginning because I watched it late like I always do. I rarely get to watch anything live. And that first Heyman promo or whatever you call it, that Heyman package that explained what Extreme is and explained Philadelphia. It was goosebump shit. Paul Heyman could prove gravity doesn't exist if the angle needed it. He is the fucking best on the mic. And when he laid it out, it was just like, okay, here's this beautiful intro. And then here comes Walter and fucking Sheamus. And I'm not one for trios matches. I think that they can be clunky, but this is probably one of the best 6-man, and it's not really a tag team because it's a Donnybrook brawl. It's just everybody at all times, ECW rules basically. This was wonderful. This was as good as you can do with 6 men just beating the fucking shit out of each other.
Well, not to rewind on you, but what you just said about Paul Heyman's promo, Paul Heyman's explanation, you know, Paul Heyman's good anyway, no matter what he's talking about. And like you said, he could totally change your mind on anything if he needed to. But with this, it was a little extra easy for Paul. It was really easy for Paul to get passionate and take you into what he really thinks about that building and that crowd and that style and that whole vibe. And it was definitely great. And this 3-on-3, like you said, I'm not a big 6-man tag fan. And luckily this was Texas Tornado rules. So it was all over the place and it was just chaos. but they really held it together. And I'll be honest, Ridge Holland even won me over in that.
Dude, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate him.
I've never been a Ridge Holland
Me
fan.
neither.
I've kind of held a grudge against him since he hurt Big E, but I will say that Ridge Holland even impressed me here. I was really into it for sure.
Man, when they all were laying down and it looked stagey, and I was like, I don't like stagey stuff. I don't like it's the reason why I'm, a lot of stuff in AEW I don't like. I don't like things that look pre-planned. But when they went, forehead to forehead, when Walter and Shane was like, man, I felt it. And then, they all three, on each side went forehead to forehead. Like, this looks like a fight. These guys know what fighting is. This is what a fight fucking looks like. It's wonderful. Yeah. And, again, piggybacking again on Paul Heyman, just setting the table. Let's be honest. He's the Vince McMahon of extreme wrestling.
You damn right.
You know what I mean? That's him. And if all hell Triple H, because this has Triple H's, everything about tonight had Triple H's hands and fingerprints all over it. Is there anything else we want to go with this match?
I mean, not really, other than if you didn't see it, go back and watch.
Watch it again.
It was definitely a great way to kick this thing off.
It's one of those matches that if you were trying to get someone back into it, like I'm currently right now working with my guitar player on a flip house, and he is a exclusive Monday Night Wars guy. So like we talk wrestling while we're working, but it's always about the Monday Night Wars, and he doesn't know anything about anything else. And when I go into work with him tomorrow, I'm going to be like, this match might be the one that brings you back. It's one of those. It's that good. And hell, if I could get him to watch the first Walter Sheamus match too, fight forever. I hate that fucking chant, but if there was ever a chance for this to be appropriate, it's that match. So next, Mr. Resner, I'm so happy to have Brian back.
Next up, so glad to be back and not floating down the Fort Myers Bay.
Dude, you sent a video in our chat, which one day will be available on our Patreon, of a fucking shark swimming down the street.
Yeah, that's true. That's real.
Florida never changed. So someone who is changing and for the better. Ronda Rousey defeated Liv Morgan by technical submission. Ronda Rousey is getting it. She's becoming a pro wrestler, Brian. What do you think?
She did. I was thinking this whole thing, the whole time that I've been watching Ronda Rousey, it's like, God, it's not that she sucks. It's just that she doesn't know how to do this. And it's like, and all the fans really bother her. Like the fans not liking her bothers her. Just everything gets under her skin. And then when she picks up something and decides to swing it, I realize Extreme Rules changes Ronda Rousey. Extreme Rules is what Ronda Rousey needs to get over.
Man, I hope that bat was gimmick, because there was some shots, man. Liv Morgan definitely had some marks from that bat, and
definitely.
I don't know if I would trust either one of those ladies to work a bat shot on me. But
especially not Rousey.
Yeah, no shit. And you said or maybe the last appearance that you've had since all hell broke loose in Florida, you said something that made a lot of sense. Liv Morgan is like a throwback to the Divas division. She's like the diva, and man, I've been down on her. Even Adam Harris, the resident, purveyor and lover of women's wrestling, was not high on Liv Morgan. The match started out pretty damn great, and that was a hard match to follow. That was a impossible spot to follow Sheamus and Walter, right? And the first part of this match was pretty good. And when I saw like her getting Ronda getting pro wrestling is when she hit her with the baseball bat, and then she did the like home run kind of look off to the distance. I was like, oh, that's pro wrestling. Ronda Rousey's getting it. That she is one of the top Triple H projects, and he's already bumped for her, right? Triple H fucking bumped for Ronda Rousey, which is how much he's engaged in getting her over. Did Liv Morgan get over more with you during this match?
She did. I still don't really understand the smiling part at the end but I'm hoping that it leads to a darker Liv. I'm not if it doesn't lead to something, then it's a mistake in my opinion. But if it does lead to something, then okay. But it was a great match for two people who aren't that great.
Yeah, the ending was clunky. Working with the furniture was a little clunky. I think the first 5-6 minutes of this match was as good as it could have been with the participants. And my big takeaway is like, man, Ronda Rousey, I think, is becoming a fucking pro wrestler.
And that's what we want. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, because she's legitimate. She should be the female Brock Lesnar.
Right. Exactly.
We've all watched her
legitimacy.
Yeah, we've all watched her take girls' fucking arms home with her. You know what I mean? Like she's the beginning of the UFC women's division. The UFC women's division would not exist without Ronda Rousey because for many years, I wish Derek was here because he's the other big UFC mark. For many years, Dana said that I'm not having female fighters. There's not enough quality of it. I don't think there's a market for it. And it was on Ronda Rousey's back. She created a whole market on her back. That's how important Ronda Rousey is. Now, of course, she got exposed later on. And of course, now there's many stars, female UFC stars now. And I think we're going to see, of course, more of them coming to the WWE. And there's some more UFC shit coming up.
But you know what? You stop anybody on the street, just random people, just stop one of them and say, hey, name a female UFC fighter. They're going to say Ronda Rousey. Name a second one.
They might say Gina Carano, maybe.
They're not going to say Gina Carano.
Possibly. If you're a big UFC fan, like I think Derek might have.
If you're a big, I said stop a random person. I said stop a random. I didn't say stop a random UFC fan. Right. I said stop a random person. They're going to know who Ronda Rousey is, and they're not going to know who Gina, whoever is, or anybody else. There is no one else in the UFC in the female division of UFC, period, that anyone would be a household name except for Ronda Rousey.
She is a household name, that's for sure. Going forward, I don't know if she keeps feuding with Liv. Like, just when you see Liv against Sheamus, when you see Liv, I've got Sheamus Walter on my mind. It's the only thing I'm thinking about.
On the brain. Yeah.
God damn. When you look at him, like, this does not make sense. I've got a 11-year-old that's as big as Liv Morgan, and Ronda Rousey is, a UFC machine.
Okay.
So then that brings us to the next match, someone who I know that you are really high on and I want to be high on. We got Karrion Kross with Scarlett with one of the better ring introductions that you're going to ever see. Defeated Drew McIntyre by pinfall in a strap match. Now, if Steve New was here, who's an old head like myself, we would start this out with, this match is pretty damn good. But man, if it's a strap match, there's only one way to win a strap match, Brian, and you're supposed to hit all four corners.
I can't believe they didn't do it with Triple H in charge. With Triple H in charge, I thought for sure they were going to do a strap match, right?
Mm-hmm.
They even talked about Sting versus Vader, which was done right. Mm-hmm. They even talked about Austin Idol versus Jerry Lawler, which was done right. Why would you not do your strap match right? I don't understand it. I don't know why they did it the way they did it. But and I will say, you said that Karrion Kross is in, his intro, his ring entrance is better than a lot of people's, but you know what? It was kind of half-assed to what it was, to what it used to be.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why he's got hair.
Dude, we got to talk about it. Like, as the bald men in the fucking house, I truly believe that Dolph Ziggler did not become the Shawn Michaels of our time because he's got bad hair. And he knows he's got bad hair because we've seen every kind of hairstyle on Dolph Ziggler. His hair's bad. I know this. I may be completely sound like an idiot right now, but man, Karrion Kross has bad hair. And at one point he had like some wings off the top of his head and he just didn't look badass. He looks more badass with his head shaved.
Well, I'll say that I don't think that he necessarily has bad hair, but I will say that he doesn't have a badass bald head, which he used to have, and his character calls for it. Like, his character calls for that tactical style of haircut. You know, you have this haircut because you don't want to be held back by anything. Like, that's the whole purpose of having a bald head, is to be smooth, calculated, strategical, and tactical. And that's what I see from his character. And plus, he just looks so much better as a bald badass than a guy with hair.
He's too handsome. Like, he's a really handsome guy with hair. And you're just like, oh, there's a handsome dude. She's phenomenal. I mean, let's talk about Scarlett for a second. Everything about her is great. You know, not just the package, the way she carries herself. She carries herself like she's not like psychotic like Sherry Martel was, but, you know, she's getting involved. The first bump of the match was her grabbing the strap and pulling on Drew, right? Now, that Drew being moved by her was a little hard to deal. Like, no, Drew McIntyre's not going to be pulled by 98-pound Scarlett. But she's wonderful. Everything, just shave his head. I think that's it. Like, cause again, like during the match, his hair was all like floppy and he didn't look like a badass. And this match was cool, right? What did you think about the match, the actual work?
Honestly, I feel like the match is better than 90% of what Cross has done since he came back. Mm-hmm. This was kind of the best thing that he's been involved with since he came back. And honestly, this match was better than a lot of the matches that he had in NXT before he left the first time. This was really, I think Drew is a really good person to put with Cross, because Drew is going to teach Cross how to operate at that size.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And wrestle like a main event match, because, you know, right. Man, Drew had a fantastic barn burner with Roman Reigns at the Rumble at the Castle or whatever that pay-per-view was. So Drew knows how to do a main event match, right?
Well, if anything, Cross reminds me of Drew before Drew was on a main event level.
Okay.
So if anyone's going to take him anyone's going to help guide him on that evolutionary step, it's going to be Drew. Drew's a great person to pair with him because of that.
Is this, it seems like Drew's going to be pushed down the card a little bit. He may have to do some rebuilding of his brand, as the kids say. It looks like, you know, Karrion Kross has the Triple H stamped rocket ship, like where he's ready. Do you think that they're getting him ready, shining him up for Roman?
No.
Too early? Too early?
I think the next place that we're going to see him is feuding with Bobby Lashley.
Hey, as long as I see Bobby Lashley on my TV, I'm good. I'm a simple man, Brian. Just put Bobby on my TV. So, you know, he wins the wrong way, because everyone knows you do not have a pinfall in a strap match. You beat your opponent down so badly that you can drag them to the four corners of the ring, and hopefully bring that back.
All of the folks that you popped with the Sting Vader comment, you disappointed with the finish. That's for sure. Now, all the new fans that have never seen a strap match before, you know, sure, that pinfall, okay, cool.
Right.
They must have been all into it. But those of us who have been around for a long time, I really wanted to see Cross drag Drew, and then Drew tap the corner after everyone that he got, then flip over him at the last minute and tap it.
That's how you do it. That's
how it's done. Way.
That's how it's done.
Traditional way.
So Killer Cross, Karrion, I'm getting everybody's name wrong. Karrion Kross, you know, he is obviously being built. We're going to see where he goes. So now you're going to have to take this over, brother, because and man, Adam Harris is going to be mad at me. I fast forwarded the Bianca Belair Bayley match because I got spoiled the return that we're going to talk about later, and I just wanted to get to it. So I fast forwarded through this match. Tell me about this match.
Well, I will tell you this much. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. It was a whole lot better than I thought it was going to be. And not that I have a bad opinion of either one of these ladies, but I wasn't too excited that the ladder match was going to be a female ladder match. I'll be honest with you. I don't have to lie and say that I was so pumped about a woman's ladder match. I totally wasn't. But Bayley and Bianca Belair brought it, and they brought it with authority. The move. What are they? What is the move that Bianca Belair does where she puts them on the shoulders?
Oh, I can't remember.
It's like a reverse FU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that with a ladder in Bayley's hands.
Oh, you know what? I did see that. I saw that as I was fast forwarding.
Really awesome.
That was really dangerous.
Yeah, it was very dangerous. It was very dangerous. It was very awesome looking. It looked like it really hurt Bayley, but it was very interesting to see that because I've never really seen that particular move before, and it was kind of like some creativity on the part of Bianca. But all in all, that it was a great, absolutely great ladder match.
Now, we all know that when, as good as Philadelphia crowds are when the wrestling is good, we also know that if it is bad, Philadelphia will fucking let you know about it. Of course, there's the famous story of the Philadelphia Eagles fan booing Santa Claus. So this is a town that does not suffer bullshit. Were they in?
Oh, they were in. Yeah, they were. I didn't see a time the entire night that they weren't in.
Okay.
I mean,
I thought if anywhere, well, again, I didn't watch this match, so I thought if anywhere it would be, because I'm with you, like female ladder match, I kind of maybe turn into my cornet showing maybe a little bit, but I could have seen that would be in the place.
I figured it was going to be the match that I spent most of the time on TikTok, but it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. I really enjoyed the match. It was kind of impossible for me to ignore the match.
I hear you. I mean, Bianca Belair is going to be a future Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
She is.
So then that brings us to maybe for me, the only low spot for this pay-per-view. I think maybe you might disagree. I think the ending was fucking great, but we have Finn Balor, because I got buried in the comment section last time I called him Baylor. I'm from the South. We get shit wrong. Fuck off. Finn Balor defeated Edge in an I Quit match. And I Quit matches can be laborious because, we have to beat someone so badly that they swallow their pride and say I quit. The match itself, it was 29 minutes. And I want to talk about the length of this pay-per-view as well at some point. 29 minutes. If anybody can do a 30-minute match, Edge, of course, is a master, and Finn is a master. But this one got a little long for me, dog, but they brought it back in the end. What did you think?
I think the end of it worked really well. I had a friend actually, shout out to James Taylor. He said that this was going to happen by just a promo in the beginning. The promo in the beginning, Edge said, "There's nothing you can physically do to me to make me quit." And he picked up on that instantly and sent me a text and said, "I guarantee you they're going to bring his family involved. His family's going to get involved and he's going to quit to save his family." And I was like, damn, that's a pretty good prediction. We'll see what happens. And then it happened verbatim right there, exactly what he said was going to happen. And I was like, that's so cool that wrestling fans can do that, where we pick up on one little word and that word is going to take us to the finish. But 29 minutes was a hell of a long road to get there. And honestly, for 29 minutes, we really should have got Christian too. But nevertheless, I did love how, Edge is there and he's already said no to quitting so many times. And now he's there looking at his wife, about to get concertoed in front of him. If anybody knows what a concerto can do to your skull, it's Edge. He's sitting there. He's staring at the woman he loves, about to get smashed in the head with the chair. And he says, "I quit. I quit. Just leave Beth alone. I quit." And nothing could have been better suiting than what Rhea Ripley did.
Well, let's talk about that, because when Rhea Ripley squared up with Beth Phoenix, the fucking roof came off the joint, and it was like one of those matches that you didn't know you wanted. And now I can't fucking wait to see Rhea Ripley and Beth Phoenix, because, Beth Phoenix is a great wrestler. Unfortunately, she came towards the end of that god-awful diva division, and she was having to wrestle fucking Victoria's Secret's models and never really had her, like, how Trish had Lita. Charlotte has had multiple great people to work with. Beth Phoenix has never really got to have. Did Beth Phoenix like wrestle Lita at some point? Maybe. If Derek was here, he'd fucking tell us. But
I'm sure she did.
When Beth Phoenix squared up on Rhea Ripley, Philadelphia let me know. I can't wait to watch this shit match.
That really kind of goes to prove your point. Is the women's division, as far as talent goes, was so bad that you were reaching for Lita being an actual technician.
Yeah,
that's what you were. That's how bad
she could do a moonsault.
Is that Lita was considered the technician, and now we see an entire different level of competition. And really, Beth Phoenix belongs in that level instead of where she was as far as timeline goes. But having Rhea Ripley show that dark side, that you quit. Okay, did you think that was going to keep me from smashing your wife's head? Because it wasn't. And then she still goes through with it like that. Rhea Ripley is totally the leader of Rebel or
oh shit. Yeah, them.
Them. Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Rhea Ripley is the leader of Judgment Day because she's the only one that can cut a promo. Mm-hmm. She's the only one that can just really put out that type of reaction from the fans.
She's got charisma. She's got that shit, man. She's going to be in major motion pictures, baby. She's going to be a star.
That was good. That was good right there.
She's going to be a star, Brian Resner. We're going to see her in Hollywood. I mean, dude, she looks legitimate. She has one of the most fantastic backs, and I'm like I've ever seen. When she turns around, she got that big V. Like that looks like. Let's be honest, man. We see Alexa Bliss. Man, my 11-year-old could have a pretty believable match with her, but you see Rhea Ripley and you see like Martinez, Martinez that was just the tag champions with the Aaliyah. Raquel, like those girls and Ronda Rousey, when you see them.
But you know what? When I see Rhea Ripley, I can't take my eyes off the TV. When I see Raquel Martinez, I can't take my eyes off my phone. It's a little different.
She's going to get there. I think that she can get there.
Raquel Martinez may be 7 foot tall and 200 pounds or something. But she still don't impress me. Rhea Ripley impresses me. Every time she does anything, she's impressive. Mm-hmm. Raquel looks really out of place.
I think I root for her because we need, because this really comes to, Charlotte's going to come back eventually. No AEW nerds. Charlotte ain't fucking coming to AEW. Charlotte's going to come back.
Don't make Charlotte wrestle Raquel Martinez. No.
I think that she needs to get shined up for.
Isn't it Gonzalez? Raquel Gonzalez?
Maybe I'm getting it wrong.
I think it's Raquel Gonzalez.
Maybe that's proof that maybe she isn't as great.
She isn't great. Yeah, she did. No.
But anyway, Rhea Ripley does stand head and shoulders and over, like, man, and I love Punishment Martinez. I'm a Ring of Honor mark. I've been watching him wrestle for a while, and man, he's like the third guy. He's the John Moxley of that crew because Rhea Ripley is coming off. And he shouldn't be. Like, he's got a cool voice. He's got like a voiceover voice. If somebody could get some feeling out of him, he looks like a badass. And he sounds like a badass, but his verbiage is not badass.
Do you remember when Eddie Murphy played a vampire in Brooklyn?
Yes.
That's what Damian Priest dresses like. And that's my problem with Damian Priest. Damian Priest dresses like vampire in Brooklyn. And then he does a promo that just isn't that great. And the whole package is ruined for me at that point. I like the guy as a wrestler. I don't like the way he dresses or talks. Finn Balor, though, I'm a huge Finn Balor fan, but we know he couldn't cut a promo his way out of a paper bag.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know. I really I still wish they would have never kicked Edge out, because we
Mm-hmm.
could have seen a really amazing Edge with this group.
But I do think that with the bringing in of Beth and this match, which was fine, is a little too long. I think Triple H has salvaged that bad that bad decision to drop Edge out early. He is making proverbial a chicken salad out of chicken shit with this, because now I'm interested.
Can we talk for just a second about Dominic Mysterio? I believe that Dominic Mysterio's next move, this is what he should do next. If Dominic Mysterio went out to the ring on Raw and cut a promo about how he was changing his name to Guerrero for his real father, that would be the best angle that we could possibly go with right now. And it would totally launch Dominic's career if he denounced Rey Mysterio as his father, claimed Eddie Guerrero as his father, and changed his name to Dominic Guerrero. And then we seen Dominic Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. That's what I want.
Damn, Brian Lesnar just made the meme happen. He just booked the fucking meme. I think you would have to have, because, you know, that you'd have to have Vicky's okay. I think I would have to feel good about it that Vicky said okay, and maybe that's just
okay.
Me
So
humanizing her.
All you have to do is make her a part of it and get her a paycheck, and she's going to be okay with it.
Yeah, get her out of AEW for fucking sure, because
So,
Vicky Guerrero is a fucking great heel.
Call Vicky, get her signed up. I doubt they've got her under contract. They don't have Christian under contract. That's why I was hoping Christian was going to show up.
What?
Christian's not under a full-time contract. He's not. He's under a. It's like a show for show type deal. I was like, man, why would you not just pull Christian back over and let Christian, Edge, and Beth Phoenix versus the Judgment Day? Now you have something. You know what I mean? Now you have something.
You can have my money. You can have my money now.
Right,
for
exactly.
Sure.
So,
man, they've made Dominic interesting. I've buried Dominic in past episodes. I thought he looked like just a guy and just a little, hair gel and a little smirk. And let's be honest, Rhea Ripley getting him over. Rhea Ripley has been pulling him by the nose to get over. And I've just been down on Dominic the whole time he's been in the WWE. But Rhea Ripley has made him interesting.
In a way, do you kind of feel like the whole Dominic Rhea Ripley thing is another way to get at Buddy Murphy? Because Buddy Murphy or Buddy Matthews is dating Rhea Ripley. And when Buddy Murphy got fired from the WWE, he was messing with Rey Mysterio's daughter on screen and catching hell for it online by the people who don't understand that 18 is the age of consent. So they were giving Buddy Murphy Matthews, whatever you want to call him, and they were putting him down the road for dating in a storyline an 18-year-old girl. And that ultimately led to him being released. I mean, it's the beginning of the end for him. He gets released. And now he's dating in real life Rhea Ripley. So they pair Rhea Ripley with Dominic, who's also Rey Mysterio's kid. It's just kind of like a small world type of thing.
Would Triple H, do you think Triple H has got that kind of petty in him?
Well, it started before Triple H, right? It kind of they were kind of like working toward that way anyway. So
right.
I'm not 100% sure, but it's kind of interesting that he was involved with her, and then now she's involved with he, and it's
And that's why you pay the big bucks to watch House of Kayfabe. That's a good one. I like that a lot.
Right.
That's good shit.
So next up on the docket.
Yeah, next up on the docket, and pro wrestling has dabbled in trying to present a shoot like nature. Of course, the Owen Hart and Ken Shamrock in the Snake Pit match comes to mind. Of course, the Brawl for All.
What is it?
Lions Den match. That's it.
Not Snake Pit.
There you go. Lions Den. So they've done that. They've tried. They took the ropes down for this next match. And man, this is where me and Brian Resner may resolve some past issues, because we have Matt Riddle. That's right, Matt Riddle defeated Seth freaking Rollins by submission in a fight pit match with former baddest man on the planet, Daniel Cormier, who we have known for years as a huge wrestling mark, as the special guest referee. I think this was as good as this could have been. I loved everything about it. I'm a huge Matt Riddle fan. I loved at the beginning of it, Matt Riddle was working like a UFC fan, like fighter. He had the stance and the posture and the movements of fighting like a UFC fighter, because he was. If Matt Riddle did not have a liking for a certain plant that, a lot of us like, there's a good chance that he would still be in UFC, because he was winning a lot, but he had like 2 or 3 matches overturned because he got tested for the devil's lettuce. So this match was great. I loved it. This was a main event match. This is the first main event that we've had without Roman Reigns in quite a while, Brian Resner. So I know you're a huge Seth Rollins fan. Did Matt Riddle get you? Is he over with you yet?
Man, yeah.
Yes.
And it took Seth Rollins to do it. It's not up to Matt Riddle. He couldn't act like a stupid goof in this.
No. Well, they made it personal.
Seth Rollins would not allow him to be an ignorant goof. And that's when we got a good Matt Riddle, because I've never been anti-Riddle because of his skill in the ring. He excites, like I always said that, he was the guy who turned green into a style. Because he was green and it still looked painful. It looked it looked real. So I was just anti the goof. I'm not going to cheer you if you're a goof. If you're a comedic goof, then that's what you are. You're a comedic goof. Stay the hell out of my main event. But if you're going to put a comedic goof in the main event, then you want to tell him he's a bitch because he can't keep his family in the promos. What a great way to bring the fire out in the goof and make the goof a man. That's what Seth Rollins did here, is he made Matt Riddle a man. And that's what I think really, really counts for this match. One thing I'd like to mention is Daniel Cormier. First of all, I didn't get to watch Raw. I was busy battling the biggest storm in 130 years. So I didn't get to see Raw. So I didn't see that Daniel Cormier was going to be a part of this match. If I would have heard that Daniel Cormier was going to be a part of this match, I would have automatically thought that Brock Lesnar was going to be there too, because they're talking about Saudi Arabia and they're talking about Daniel Cormier coming in to face Brock Lesnar at the Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel, which I thought was a possibility.
Then you saw Daniel's waistline.
Exactly. I cannot believe this. I mean, I've never been a Daniel Cormier fan anyway.
Oh, I love him. I love him.
When he was talking about how he could smash Brock Lesnar, it was the funniest thing I'd ever heard, was this little short dude that doesn't
dumpy.
Look like he
and
could.
Even when he was the light heavyweight and the heavyweight, he was the champ. He's never been shredded. When he ragdolled and beat the fuck out of Dan Henderson, he looked like a diesel mechanic. He's never had a impressive physique.
No. And I've never been really impressed by him at all. And I think that I think Brock Lesnar would have absolutely ate him in the UFC.
I don't know. In the UFC, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I believe he would have. I believe it's a joke to think that the alpha male of our species couldn't just smash that little dude that looks like he's a couple inches away from being a full-blown midget.
Man,
I don't think
you got to see the people that Daniel Cormier beat. You know what I mean? The only guy that he ran into that he couldn't beat. Man, we've turned into a UFC podcast all of a sudden. John Jones was the one guy.
Hey, well, point is, I thought for sure that if Daniel Cormier is involved, this is going to be the setup for a Crown Jewel. And then, like you said, he showed up and
dad bod out to the max.
There's no way that guy's going to wrestle at Crown Jewel. So I don't know where that rumor came from. Probably Dave Meltzer. I would put a thumbs down on that whole rumor, because that man doesn't look like he can fight anybody named Brock Lesnar anytime soon.
No, at all. So let's get back to your guy.
Busy fighting carbs.
He is, dude. He's fighting carbs like a motherfucker and losing.
Better be.
Seth freaking Rollins. There is a I know that Roman Reigns was is the alpha, is the number one guy. Fuck, man, Seth Rollins has been just gold for a while now.
Seth Rollins is greatness personified.
Mm.
He 100% is. When you call him the Monday Night Messiah, it's because he came down to save us all. He really is so unbelievably good that, and you know, when you think about all those guys, like the Shield really was a precursor to these three amazing careers. Really,
I'd fight you on the third one, but I know I do not like Jon Moxley, but I do understand his importance in AEW, and he's over, so I can't argue with that. I don't fucking like Jon Moxley. I don't like his matches. I don't like seeing him jobbed Nick Gage in the GCW. I don't like any, but you're right. Those three guys are now, Roman Reigns has owned Friday. Fucking Seth Rollins has owned Monday, and Jon Moxley currently owns AEW. So whoever put them together, and dude, his ghost will always be, and he's not a ghost, obviously, but his specter will always be in the background. Look, Vince McMahon, as much as we hated a lot of shit that he did, Vince McMahon put the fucking Shield together. This man knew that these three were going to be something, and they were.
You know what you said, and I gotta lay a comment down on what you just said about Nick Gage and GCW, because I would just like to remind the similarities and the differences, because I, at one time, we talked about this earlier in the podcast, huge ECW fan. There were plenty of fans that said, I hate that stuff. I wish it didn't even exist. I hate ECW. We called those fans pussies, but either way,
was that the technical term? The technical term?
That was the technical term. Pussy, pussy, was the technical term for those people. However, I don't feel like that's the same thing with GCW. I don't feel like it's the same animal with GCW. Nick Gage,
watch it? Do you watch it?
I do. And I'm disappointed every time. Nick Gage is somebody that would have showed up in ECW and been beaten to death and sent home.
911. He'd have been 911, right?
He would have probably been mass transited really quick. Can you imagine what New Jack would have done to Nick Gage? Nick Gage would have showed up talking that shit to New Jack, and New Jack would have cut his face off, and it would have been one of the stories of the New Jack character. Can you imagine even like Sabu? Nick Gage coming up on Sabu, running his mouth? No, absolutely not. There's 101 ways that Nick Gage would have got his head torn off in ECW. in GCW.
So you don't like it when he gets compared to like, oh, this is the ECW guy. You're offended by that.
I am offended by that, because that dude couldn't lace up the boots of Mikey Whipwreck, and that's my point. And that is the one thing that I dislike about Jon Moxley, is he goes and he plays, he cosplays it over there with the GCW guys, because it's not. I watch it because it's wrestling, and I love wrestling, so I'm going to watch it regardless. And the Matt Cardona stuff was really good.
Yeah.
But the putting Nick Gage back on top, you're really taking your newfound legitimacy and flushing it right down the fucking toilet. And that's what they do when they take someone. You got Jon Moxley, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. You go
jobbing to this guy.
Yeah, jobbing to a guy who should probably be by the road with a sign.
It makes Jon Moxley not look big time. And you know who does look big fucking time, and who looks like probably the guy that probably is going to dethrone Roman, because I think WWE is running into a Roman problem. They've now John Cena'd him to the maximum, right? And dude, to his credit, he's a better John Cena than John Cena. And I am one of those smarks that I am not down on John Cena. I like John Cena. I think when I started getting back into wrestling, which was about 12, 15 years ago, I was like, oh, fucking this fucking Boy Scout Superman. But Roman has been a better John Cena.
I don't even compare him to John Cena.
Well, he's
him.
beating everybody. He's beating everybody to death, right? Just like John Cena.
I compare him to the Evolution Triple H.
Of course you do.
What I compare him to the Evolution Triple. Well, I mean, at that time, you couldn't defeat Triple H. No matter what, Triple H was going to come out, he was going to still have the title.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where when the title wasn't on his show anymore, they brought back the world title and just handed it to him and was like, "Here you go, man. You are God among men." And he took it and he ran with it, and you couldn't beat him. He was always like. Every time when it was time to get the 1, 2, 3, you heard "Evolution is a mystery," and boom, he's out the door with the belt. And that's kind of how Evolution and the Bloodline are very, very similar. And
I'll give you that.
Triple H and Roman Reigns are very, very similar in that spot. But I do believe, are you talking that Seth Rollins?
Seth is going to be, it has to be, because unless The Rock comes and stares up at the lights for his cousin at WrestleMania. That is the only other thing that would keep, for me anyway, Seth, and even Seth Rollins. Wait, Seth Rollins won, right?
Yeah,
who won this damn match.
No,
Matt Riddle did.
Won.
Even despite Seth Rollins losing here, both of them come out looking great. Matt Riddle did the big fucking Mick Foley-ish bump off the top of whatever the fuck that was. And when I saw that they had like a runway or written built in, I was like, oh, we're going to see something tonight. Man, Matt Riddle, when you said that he made green into a style, you're right. He looks reckless. He doesn't bump like everybody else. He doesn't move because that's one of the, if there's ever a snipe that you could make at the Performance Center, is that everyone comes out wrestling exactly alike. And then to the AEW's credit, when you do watch AEW, because there's no way to just not compare them, you do see different styles of wrestling, different styles of people who've been trained in different ways, right? And are you still with me? Okay, see. Oh, sorry. I thought maybe the storm happened again. But Riddle,
no storm.
But Matt Riddle he looks different. He wrestles different. He's the most different wrestler on the roster, in my opinion. And man, Seth freaking Rollins can just have a fucking 5-star with anybody he works with
a broom if he wanted to.
It's fucking ridiculous. So anything else about this match before we get on to the dessert of this pay-per-view?
Well, I was super glad to see this match go the way it did. I do believe that Matt Riddle hurt himself on that last that jump off. It did not look. It didn't look good. It looked like he was about to screw it up. Really, I think that he was just he was a little hesitant at first, and I think it kind of put him in the wrong spot. So I just hope that Matt's not injured and can keep on keeping on.
Because this has heat. Because man, Philadelphia was with it.
Yeah, well, Philadelphia they were on fire. They were just glad to have Extreme back in their town, even if it wasn't ECW. But the big thing that happened at this event happens next. And it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. I'm really kind of wondering where we're going at this point. Now, I will say this. As soon as the match ended, the credits came down in the corner there to tell us what, and it was going off the air. And I said, well, how disappointing. You've got these rabbit clips. You got these fireflies in the background. You can see lanterns. There's obviously you're pushing toward a Bray Wyatt thing, and then you don't do it. And I was like, man, how disappointing. And as soon as I said that, the lights go out. Oh, everybody's got phones. And you hear Michael Cole going, are we still on the air?
That was so good. When Michael Cole sold that. Oh, Michael Cole selling that like it was not part of the planned festivities.
Right.
Chef's kiss. Mwah.
Yes. Perfect. Are we still on the air? Are we still on the air? And my wife was like, see, it's not disappointing. So when they, he's got the whole world and we know what's up and it's great. And then it flips and shows Huskus as a person. And it flips and it shows the rabbit as a person and the buzzard as a person, and Sister Abigail as a person, and then the Fiend, which is obviously not Bray Wyatt at this point. And I as excited as I was, to see Bray, and I want to see him come out. I want to see this door open. I really want to hear that original music. Is what I really wanted was the original Bray Wyatt music. We did not get that. However, all I could think about is, oh my God, are they about to turn these puppets into fucking wrestlers? Are we about to see tag matches and shit? Are they going to make this 6-man? Is this your War Games team? Please don't ruin this. Please don't. And I've heard the rumors about how, well, Bray Wyatt's going to run a faction called the Wyatt Six. Is this the Wyatt Six?
I hope not. No, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Bray.
Yeah, I tell you what, all those costumes really had a gobbledygooker feel. You know what I mean?
Well, if they just stay that way and we don't see them wrestling, we'll be fine. Bray Wyatt is this. No, see, I watched an Alvarez Meltzer video where they just fucking buried Bray Wyatt, and there has been some questionable things. That John Cena movie match was a fucking abomination. But when he was the original, like, Waylon Mercy type character, more like the cult leader type deal, man, he's a great promo. He's a great fucking actor. I think we will see him in some motion pictures, baby. Like, he's a great promo. He's great. In the ring, he's fine. You know, they're obviously going Undertaker vibes. We're going to have somebody that has some supernatural vibes to it. This reveal was fucking perfect. This didn't look like you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like how Lucha Underground did stuff. There was a Karrion Kross pre-tape where it was like outside and like different shots and stuff, and it looked very cinematic, and it looked very Lucha Underground and all of this, and I mean that in a good way, because I loved Lucha Underground. I thought that was a great promotion. I wish it was still going today. This didn't look like this. Looked like new WWE to me.
Yeah, it definitely did. I really kind of wish we would have seen him do something.
It was. Have we ever had one? Have we ever had like a reveal or a comeback or even a debut where it existed outside of a match?
I'm sure we have. We're just not thinking about it. But I kind of think that hearing Bray talk was really important to this, and we didn't get to see that. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe when we hear him talk on Monday, it'll be even better because we didn't hear him talk at Extreme Rules. But I know that I am in dire need of a Bray promo.
I hear you, man. He cuts great ones, man.
And I don't want a guy in a pig mask sitting beside of him when he does it. You know, I hope that was like a little tribute thing, like, oh, he's done this, he's done that, he's done this, he's done that, he's done this, and all that's over. He's back to carrying a lantern and being the Waylon Mercy type gimmick. If I'm so worried about WWE disappointing me, even though Triple H has done a really good job of not disappointing me.
Is it because you've been burned so many times? You're just waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Yeah, I'm just kind of like worried that they're going to ruin the whole thing. And I really hope that they don't. Please, please, please don't make this a 4-on-4 tag match with Huskus and the Rabbit and the Buzzard. I really don't need that. Really don't need that.
Now,
I don't even care if I see the Fiend again. Like, really, you can get rid of the Fiend completely too with all this stuff and the Funhouse, and just go back to the swamp. That's what I want.
I love that shit. I thought that was
great. Go back to the swamp with this and have him be that cult leader. You know, if you want to give him a faction, bring Rowan and Braun back and have them run. I mean, you don't have anything better for Braun anyway. I know you just brought him back just because you don't want to see him go somewhere else, but why not? Why not use him? I'm sure Redbeard will come straight back.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like you want to go get in a backstage brawl at AW, or you want to be in the big leagues? You know what I'm saying? WWE
Yeah.
is just killing it right now, Brian. I love how it's like you have PTSD for being a wrestling fan for 30 years. It's killing, right? We just reviewed a great pay per view by all accounts, and I don't want to definitely talk about the length of it, but in the back of your mind, you're still thinking like we can still have. Oh, what was the gimmick of the dead girl with Kane, Katie?
Katie Vick.
Yeah, Katie Vick is back there in your mind. This can all go sideways real fast.
This can all go sideways real quick. You never know. You just never know. But
So,
I am glad that we got to talk today about Extreme
I wanted before we
Rules.
go, I want to do one more thing. This pay-per-view or special live event was about 2.5 hours long. And one thing that AEW does wrong, of all the things they do wrong, and WWE has been doing this too during the Vince McMahon era. Man, we love wrestling, but man, 4 fucking hours is too goddamn long. This was a perfectly paced. It was 6 matches. 6 matches. Not everybody has to be on this goddamn card, and everything. It was tight. I would, I'm a musician, and we always talk about like never playing one song too many. You know, when you play that one extra song, everybody's like, it's time to go. It's getting a little late. You leave them wanting more. We wanted more after this. And I think this is straight Triple H.
Yeah, for sure. I see big things coming in the future. I think Crown Jewel is going to be the best Crown Jewel that we've ever had. I believe that we're going to see the best Survivor Series that we've ever seen because we're going to have War Games at it, and that excites me.
Oh, is that a guarantee? Are you guaranteeing that?
That's a wrap. That's a done deal. War Games is at Survivor Series. I've seen them announce it on Raw. So,
okay. I missed that.
Unless they go back on their word, then we're getting War Games at Survivor Series, and that's super exciting. I know that's one of Triple H's favorite matches of all times is the War Games Spectacular. So we shall see how that all plays out in the future. I'm sure we'll talk about it more here at the House of Kayfabe. And before we go, I want to remind everybody that WrestleCade is coming up, and WrestleCade is coming up quick in November, at the end of November, directly after Thanksgiving. We will be in Winston-Salem at WrestleCade, and there's going to be a lot of folks there this year, Barker. I mean, we are bringing Claudio Castagnoli with us himself. We also have Warhorse and Heath and Brian Myers and quite a few others.
Aubrey Edwards.
Aubrey Edwards will be there. Davey Richards. There's a ton of folks. Paul White, the Big Show, is going to be live at WrestleCade. Also, Kurt Angle will be back at WrestleCade. We are going to be running around that place left and right getting interviews. It's going to be a very monumental occasion, and the return of Franchised with Shane Douglas. That's right. Franchised with Shane Douglas, another podcast that we have here on the Superior Radio Network. I am the host, and we have not done that podcast in quite a while. The return of it will be live at WrestleCade. And I tell you what, there are a lot of ECW originals running around WrestleCade this year. Rob Van Dam, Sabu, many, many others.
Francine.
Who knows? Francine for sure. Who knows who's going to stop in at Franchised with Shane Douglas live right there at WrestleCade. Check the website for times and availability and tickets and hotel information and all that. This should be the biggest WrestleCade of all time. For sure. So make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you join us. Make sure you click subscribe and make sure you click that little bell so you can get our videos first. Share it with your friends. And push to the moon. We're going to be giving away a lot of t-shirts at WrestleCade. So make sure you are there and make sure you're talking to us. All you have to do is scream out, Steven Barker, give me a t-shirt. And you may get one right there in the moment at WrestleCade. Well, we have had a great review here of Extreme Rules, and I look forward to some more good reviews or great reviews from the future pay-per-views like Crown Jewel and Survivor Series with War Games. I'm excited like a giddy little kid. So we will see what happens there. But thank you for joining us. Thank you, Steven Barker. Hopefully there will be no more storms coming my way and everything will be set back up so we can continue rolling right here on the House of Kayfabe.
We're so glad to have you back, Reyes.